Hey, it's Kelly Morgan, health coach to busy overachievers. One of my clients' biggest concerns is nutrition, and I find they often try to overcomplicate it. Good nutrition comes down to balance. Balance is important in your diet for weight management, energy, and overall health. If you'll take yourself back to elementary school, there are certain groups of food our bodies need: fruits and vegetables, protein, healthy fat, and whole grains. These days, we have so many options for getting really great quality produce, protein, healthy fats, and whole grains that we don't really have an issue with being able to find great products to have a balanced, healthy diet. And it's possible on any budget with any dietary challenges. Your goal here is to feed yourself the fuel you need. So you want to focus on vitamin-rich, fiber-filled, whole foods. So things you find in the perimeter around the grocery store, those fruits and vegetables, the dairy case, eggs, meats. You can dip in there to the frozen foods. Those are okay. Maybe down the whole grains aisle. But mostly you're going to find the stuff that is actual real food that's not exactly like packaged food. Now let's start with protein. The media, athletes, that guy at work, they all talk about protein and probably a little too much. Protein's important, that's true. However, unless you're a bodybuilder or you mostly exist on food from the vending machine, you're probably getting enough protein already. Yeah, you too, vegetarians. Protein is found in more than just meat and protein powders. Fruit, vegetables, legumes, nuts, seeds, dairy, eggs, and, whole grains. They all have protein in them. Now, speaking of whole grains, even if you didn't live through the low-fat craze of the 90s, you might remember the time period of Atkins, South Beach, and the original low-carb frenzy of the early 2000s. Well, it's back, and it's here under some different diet names that you might know: keto, paleo, low-carb diet, the real creative one there. It's back, but it's slightly different. Now, I want you to remember something. Carbs are fuel that your body turns to for energy. Carbs are critical for healthy bodies. They're part of our diet for a good reason. There are lots of myths about carbs, but the most prevalent is that carbs are bad. Here's an example for you. A carrot is a carbohydrate, but so is a cupcake. I bet you can guess which source of carbs is better for you. When it comes to carbs that you should limit, try to avoid anything that has white flour or added sugar. We're going to go with the obvious stuff, the things we call junk food. Don't overanalyze this. Just get rid of the things that you know are junk food, the Twinkies, the packaged cookies, that type of thing. While you're limiting your intake of junky carbs, try also to boost your intake of good ones. That includes vegetables, fruit, whole grains. One method that my clients have found works really well is to crowd out the bad with the good. So don't obsess over what you're getting rid of. Start eating more good carbs. The more quality carbs you're eating, like those fruits and vegetables, the whole grains, that type of stuff, the more satisfying fiber you're getting. This takes care of hunger, and then it doesn't leave you room to fill up on junk, which, by the way, only temporarily fixes your craving. Your diet is hugely important to your healthy lifestyle, but please don't make big sweeping changes. Like I said, start to crowd out the obvious stuff, the junk food, the things from the vending machine, the cookies, the cakes. Start small. These small changes that are more manageable, these itsy bitsy baby steps, those are a much smarter path to success. So instead of trying to eliminate sugar completely or stop eating junk food, you might limit your sugar and maybe cut back on the junk food to twice a week. Trust that as you begin to take better care of yourself through these small, incremental dietary changes, your goals will come. It has to happen. When you make those changes, your body's not going to play tricks on you. The less junk you eat and the more good stuff you eat, the better your results. Now, here are 4 lifestyle changes that you can start with to make a big dent in your goals. And each one of these is pretty easy to do, and they're pillars of a healthy diet. All right, so first one, eat breakfast. Now, you might have heard it's the most important meal of the day. That's not quite true. We used to believe that there was a metabolic effect to eating small meals and to eating breakfast. It turns out that's not really true. Why I'm telling you to eat breakfast is that it helps you manage your hunger throughout the day. Now, it doesn't matter if you eat every 3 hours or whatever plan Pinterest is telling you about or people are telling you about. Starting out the day with breakfast helps you make good decisions up until lunch, where you have a nutritious lunch. Then you make good decisions up to dinner. Baby steps. So number 2 is to eat vegetables at every meal. That's self-explanatory. So we'll move on to number 3, which is to watch your calorie intake, but don't obsess over it. You can also track macros or use any method that resonates with you. Just make sure you know what you're eating, pay attention to what's going in your mouth, and more importantly to weight maintenance, how much of it. Finally, make sure you drink enough water throughout the day. A good rule of thumb for how much water you should drink is to take your weight in pounds, divide it by 2, and that's how many ounces you should drink. So if you are, let's say you're 160 pounds, divide that by 2, 80 ounces of water a day. For those of you who are on a budget or who are just savvy shoppers, I'd like you to consider buying frozen fruit and vegetables. Believe it or not, they're just as good for you as fresh vegetables because they're flash frozen when they're fresh. They're also a fraction of the price and they last longer. If you love fresh produce, consider getting a membership to Costco or a similar club. They have amazing fresh fruit and vegetables, beautiful cuts of meat, fancy cheeses, anything you can imagine. You can do a really good job of shopping for healthy food there. Finally, you can also buy canned goods. I know you're just like, canned goods, I thought they were terrible. They're not. Just look for the lower sodium varieties. They're cheap and long lasting, and when you have a bunch of different things in the pantry ready to go, you can dump them all into a pot with some broth and you got a soup. Easy dinner. You can also get incredible deals in the international food section of your grocery store. They have especially good deals on rice and beans and larger packages of those dried varieties of those. They also have really interesting things that you can pick out to kind of like make your meals more interesting. So go take a peek there. Don't overcomplicate your nutrition. It comes down to balance. Eat more whole foods, limit your junk, and think before you eat. It really is that easy. I'll see you in the next video.